What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Hold on, y'all. Let me shut this door real quick. All right. Y'all, I'm moving, so bear with me. But I had to come out and talk about this. This crazy right here. I'm sitting down. If y'all hear this echo, this because this room is empty right now. But praise the Most High for blessing me to find somewhere to lay my head. Y'all, it is so interesting. I wanted to get out here and talk about, first I was trying to figure out today, what am I going to talk about? And the reason I kept pushing this live back was I was looking up content because I was going to talk about Candace Owens. And before you know it, I started getting information about what happened in California. So y'all, I'm talking off the cuff right now today. I want to do a little bit more deep dive into it. But when I saw it, I said, let me give myself about an hour to look through it. I said, I'm going to change it. I said, I'm not going to talk about Candace. I'll talk about Candace Owens another day. That's not what I want to talk about right now. Thank you so much, y'all. I wanted to talk about this California bill, this reparation bill. And when I saw it, I was like, only our people can do it. So ultimately, the Black Caucus sabotaged their own bill. And I think the biggest part of that bill is SB 1403, where it's an agency. I think that's, and I'm gonna play this news reporter. He kind of explains each bill, but I think the bigger bill was the 1403, and it was another bill that would directly tie to people being from enslaved individuals. And in that bill, they required that you show proof and all that your ancestor dated back before the we got to the 1900s, I think. Which isn't hard to do because a lot of us have done ancestry, and you get enough, people involved in it, you can find somebody. I found somebody. I found actually the first the slave, the last slave in our family, all the way up to the 1850s, because I think he died in 1860 something, and it's on my dad's side. And I forgot his name, but I was able to find it. So the thing is now, praise the Most High, a lot of us have done our own research when it comes to our background. We've all done our ancestry. We've all went out there and pulled that information from the ancestry, because we were all for the past 5 years, people have been digging to figure out who they are, that we don't have to go and do this digging now. So it wouldn't be hard for us to be able to find that. So that was a part of that reparations task force in California. You have to prove it. And I think it was a couple other things that was related to it. But ultimately, the Black Democrats and the Black Caucus blocked the bill because Governor Newsom scared them. And Governor Newsom said, if you push this bill, this is what I heard, I'm going to veto it. So to save Massa from keeping him from looking bad, they blocked it. Because you could have went on and let it go through and then let him veto it. And if he would have vetoed it, guess what? It would have been on him and not on us, on them. But you know how it is. These Jangos, honey. They love it. Not Jangos, but these, what do you call them? What's the guy from Django? I forgot his name. But these Sambos. They love to say, Massa. And that's exactly what they did. So as I did some digging, I said, wow. I said, do I really want to talk about Candace Owens, or do I really want to talk about this? To let our people see who it is and who the problem is. It's not, I'm going to be honest. They said one of the senators, I think his name was Essay, I forgot his name, was trying to brought it to the floor, and they did not want to talk about it at all. It's ugly, family. I'll say that much. And when I saw it, I said, "Wow, this is what we're dealing with right now. This is what we're dealing with." So, y'all, let's get right into it. Let me go straight into it. Y'all share, like, subscribe, send it to other people to see this. This is an important conversation, and the thing is, this deals with what's really going on in the world and how our own people are our own worst enemy. Hold on one second, y'all. I'm trying to find a bill. But yeah, our people are our own worst enemy sometimes. We always talk about the white man, the white man, the white man. Well, who blocking these bills, though? You get what I'm saying? It ain't us blocking these bills. It's them. So, let me see. Let me start here. Where was that? Let me see. I had it out here. Hold on. Let me go to history. I can be able to find it. I thought I saved it. So the author, and I'm gonna go into this first. The author of the bill, this is and I'm gonna share my screen. I'll go here. So these are the representatives in California, Black Caucus. And this is the California Legislative Black Caucus. So these are the members, current members. He was the one that authored the bill, and he was pushing the bill. But she, Lori Wilson, Stephen Bradford, authored and pushed it. She was the driver of blocking it because they feared Governor Newsom. Sad, y'all. It's a sad moment. But he pissed. Stephen Bradford is pissed. And he's more so pissed at Lori because Lori Wilson, who is, I think she's a descendant of slave. But I heard it's a lot of people up here that are not from here. So they're not African descendant of slaves. They're not so she blocked it. Very interesting. And what happened was they blocked it where it wouldn't even be a discussion point, I think, on the floor. So let me go into let me do my little thing before I get started. Because they've been watching me, baby, like a hawk. And the videos they taking down are old videos, so I'm not even upset about it. So y'all might see some videos that haven't been taken down. So let's do this real quick. Okay, so copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Let me reread it because I don't want to mess it up again. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Now, let's get to the business. Let me put this up here real quick. There we go. And put my little banner right here. Y'all know they coming for us, sister. They trying to find anything. Where's my banner? Here it is. Here's banners. All right. Let me change the color of the banner. Well, y'all can see the banner. All right. Let's get to the video. So this is a news reporter. This guy, he's been following this the reparation bill in California for a little bit. So if anybody don't know, California is one of the states that are trying to push towards reparations to Black descendants of slaves, Americans, us, foundational Black Americans, ADOS, however you want to put it. California was the first one to stage that conversation. or start that conversation. So but this is explaining the 3 key bills that this guy, Stephen Bradford, created. So, y'all, let's get these numbers up. Let's see. Fair use. Fair use.
To the latest on the push for reparations for Black Californians for slavery and decades of discriminatory policies.
Yeah, 3 key bills had major votes in the state Senate today.
Yeah, ABC 7 News anchor and race and social justice reporter Julian Glover has been following this really every step of the way, and he's here with the votes, Julian, that just came in.
Exactly. Those votes just came down within the last hour. We are, of course, watching those closely here. All 3 of these key reparations bill passed the California Senate with comfortable margins. We want to start with SB 1403. This was the really big.
This is 3 months ago. This is prior to the incident that happened here recently. The incident where they blocked the bill, I think, happened August 22nd here recently. They blocked it. But this is like 3-4 months ago, where he's explaining how they decided to bring the bills forth and how everybody signed off on these 3 bills. So this bill, these 3 bills, Black Caucus, and I think, and I'll give y'all another video where Stephen Bradford actually go into detail of how this came about, the backstory. So this is just 3 months of I think they were introducing the bills. So remember, this right here is just explaining what the bills are. And they were explaining the bills. This right here is explaining the bills and them authoring and signing off on the bill about, I think, a year ago, but they're here now. I think 3 months ago. This is in the past. I pretty much say that.
Big one here. It would create a new state aid. Here, it would create a new. We want to start with SB 1403. This was the bill passed the California Senate with comfortable margins. We want to start with SB 1403. This was the really big one here. It would create a new state agency, the California Freedmen Affairs Agency. Now, that agency would oversee and administer any reparations measures that are passed. To be eligible, you'd have to be able to trace lineage back to an enslaved person or Black person in the U.S. before the end of the 19th century. The bill passed 30-7. The second bill, SB 1331, would create a fund for reparations and reparative justice in the state treasury. This would be where the money would come from to pay for reparations. The Senate voted in favor of establishing the fund, but no specific funding mechanism has been determined as the state continues to navigate the significant budget deficit we've been telling you about. In other words, the account has been opened, but there's no money in it currently. It passed 29-8. Now, the third bill passed in a 32-5 vote. It would provide compensation to families who've had their property taken from them in racially motivated applications of eminent domain.
The power of eminent domain has been used repeatedly to abuse, to move Black and brown people off of their land and destroy their homes. These actions have devastated the opportunity for families to build intergenerational wealth through the owning of land.
The 3 bills today join AB 3089 that passed the state assembly last week. The bill would issue an apology to Black Californians for the state's role in instituting slave laws and discriminatory practices since its founding. Now, without a doubt, a true history-making day at the state capitol. Now, of course, we wait for these bills to go before the assembly, which will happen in the coming weeks. Then, if passed, those bills would go before the governor to sign or veto them. Yeah. That could happen as early as September of this year.
So
this is where we are. That last little thing, it had to go forth and get signed off so it can go to Governor Gavin Newsom, for Governor Gavin Newsom to sign off on that. Keep in mind, they real quick to sign off on bills to support people coming here crossing the border. I get to you later, Hot Sauce. Give me a second. I've just been moving right here recently, so I haven't gotten a chance to do anything. But they'll sign off on bills with that, but they don't want to sign off on bills for reparations. So it got heated on the floor. Now, the end of this, when he said, take it to Gavin Newsom by September, this was that final phase that he's speaking of, that they were trying to get to. They were getting ready they could have signed off on it and have it sent to Gavin Newsom. They were afraid that Gavin Newsom was going to veto it, so they took it totally off. Now, the problem with this is you would have rather taken the hit instead of him taking the hit. Because if they would have said, cool, sign off on these bills and send it over to Gavin Newsom knew if he would have got those bills, he would have signed off on it because he had no choice. But what he did was a scare tactic, and they don't want to lose their money. Understand that these people don't. There are a set of people that look like us that ain't us. They're about that money. They're about that funding, and they would rather destroy their own community because they love being at the top now. They like being the ones that have the money. They have a hierarchy mindset. They want to be on the top, and they know if we get these ninjas reparation, they're going to be at the same level of us. And the biggest fear is if California would have signed off on this, other states would have started doing it. You would have had to happen. And don't get into the South. It would have been Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas. All these states would have started coming in. And the biggest clincher is he says they would have needed to prove that they had an ancestor that was a slave by the end of the 1900s. How many of us have done our due diligence just here recently in the past 5 years to prove who ancestor is what? It's not hard for us because that's all you got to do is ask about, because I got to think about it. My mom was born in the 1950s. My grandmother was born in, I want to say, 1920s. Her mother was probably born, which is my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother was probably born in the late 1800s. That's not hard to trace. So if I go to my great grandmother and look there and then go even deeper to look at her parents, bam, right there. It's not hard to do. It's not hard to trace back that ancestor. If you can trace back an ancestor going past your grandmother, just your great grandmother alone, bam, every single person will get paid. That's not hard to trace back. That's not hard to trace back to say a family, an ancestor that was born or was alive and was a slave prior to the closure of the 1900s. That's my great grandmother. That's my great grandmother. And my father, he was born that's even easier for me with my father because my dad was like 9 years older than my mom. So but my dad was younger. He used to act like he was younger. But yeah, my dad was 9 years older than my mother. So it wouldn't have been hard for me to trace back with him even more. So this is why they're like, hold on, let's dial this back. There's a problem with 1403 because these ninjas can trace it back. How many people have done Ancestry, 23andMe? All of us have been doing this for the past 5 years. So we actually got that family member right there. So they don't have enough time to sabotage you because it's enough of us that have done this research. Because you remember 5 years ago, the hottest thing was, that's why when I heard somebody say that, never mind, I ain't going to get into that. But it's not hard for us. That's why that is a problem. Because the proof is there. We've done our due diligence. So let me go to the next one. I'm telling y'all, when I saw this, I said, I'll talk about Candace later. And I ain't saying that her conversation was not relevant and we didn't need to talk about it. But right now, it's something else that we need to delve into. So go into my history. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, when I saw this, I said, yeah, the powers that be use these Uncle, no, I ain't gonna call because Uncle Tom, we know the history of Uncle, to come in and do what they do. Sambos do what Sambos know how to do well. So as much as y'all don't too much care for Roland Martin, I'm only gonna play him because, now keep in mind, y'all know I don't trust Roland Martin. He's a gatekeeper. Yeah, he's a gatekeeper as well. But I know. Oh, Gardis, I know you saw that a mile away. We got to have I may have a panel discussion about that. But Roland Martin invited Stephen Bradford on his show, and he kind of gave Stephen Bradford gave the history and the kind of like how he created the bill, why he created the bill, what happened prior to. He gives the whole backstory. So I want to play that as well. But you know what? I'm gonna go straight into that one because that one right there is actually very good. And when I saw it, I said, as much as I don't too much care for Roland Martin, I'm gonna play this because you know Roland Martin can play both sides very well. But I want to play this.
And I'm
gonna play it, and it goes into fair use, but it goes into detail of what transpired. So I'm gonna play it really quick.
On the show numerous times before, California State Senator Stephen Bradford. Again, he authored the bill, was on the task force, so he joins us right now. So Senator Bradford, first of all, so explain to people how many bills there were.
There were 14 bills that were introduced that were considered the Black Caucus, Legislative Black Caucus priority bills. There was a few more that weren't deemed priority, but the ones identified for the caucus that we all supported unanimously, I should say, it was 14.
Okay, so there were 14 bills. So you're in the Senate. What got through the House?
What got all the way to the governor's desk?
Yeah, in terms of what got through the House, and then you were hoping it was going to get through the Senate.
Well, my bills got through the Senate. My bills got all the way through the Senate. They got all the way through the Assembly. Through the last committee that they faced, policy committee, was appropriations. And to get out of appropriations without a single amendment, we figured we had no problems when it reached the floor. We had done a vote count, as again, I had 1403, which would stand up the American Freedmen Affairs Agency, 1050, which would have dealt with the racially motivated taking of property through eminent domain, similar to what I did 3 years ago with Bruce's Beach and returning that property. And then we had SB 1331, which would create a funding mechanism and foundation for reparations going forward, not requiring state money. We would look at federal money, philanthropic money, other means other than state money, since we were in a deficit situation.
There we go. Those were the three main ones. That last one would have made them. And Gardens, if you ain't busy, you can come up here if you want. You're welcome to come up here. I'll invite you. I know this last minute. I'm gonna drop that link and you can come up, Gardens. But I think that last one would have looked at federal monies to sponsor the money that needed to go to Foundational Black America. I think this conversation is going to be even deeper now. They've already everything is open now. Everything is open now. But California, the problem is we vote, we do identity voting. And I hate to say this, y'all. We do identity voting. And because we see a Black face, we want to vote for them and not really do our due diligence in looking to see what are you going to do to support our community. Every community has things that they bring to the forefront when a president is running, from the Hispanics to the Jewish community, to the gay community, to the environmental awareness community, to the union. Everybody has something that they're asking for or are requiring for them to get up there. But with Black folks, we always got the tuck tail. What's going on, Gardis?
What's going on, Sister E?
What's up?
Oh man, this it's so interesting. This reparations thing is you think that it's very much needed, but the way that we approach it, especially in the last couple of years, has just been so, first of all, it's been divisive.
Yep.
First of all, I just think that we've gotten away from, because people have been fighting for reparations since the end of the Civil War.
Yeah.
And I think the height of the movement came probably in the early 20th century. I mean, obviously there were a few court cases where certain people, former slaves, had basically took their cases to court, and some of them actually won. But when you're talking about the general Black population of this country, and their debt that they're owed, basically because of the stolen labor, stolen lives, actually, when you think about the history of slavery in this country, it has turned into something that this country was going to account for, into now we're fighting amongst ourselves on who deserves reparations, even though we weren't even, we didn't even finish the fight yet.
Yep. And the thing is this, what I don't like is, and what I didn't like about this situation is, every race has representation that's going to ensure their community is taken care of. Whatever bill, whatever act, whatever, they're going to make sure that there's something in the ticket for them. But when it comes to Black people, I don't get it. It's like we gotta feel like we are part of the crew. And guess what? A part of that is kicking their own people. White people didn't have to block their bill. That's all they had to do, is go get some Black people to say, nope, we're not gonna do it. Why wouldn't they allow this bill to make it to Gavin Newsom? Because if he would have vetoed it, it would have been on him and not on them.
Yeah, because some of us still feel, and I always say this, that we are full American citizens, and technically we're not, because we don't benefit from we don't benefit from full citizenship. Now, we may be citizens on paper, but other than that, that's all we are.
Yep.
We're paper citizens, and for us to sit here and believe that we'll get the benefit of the doubt of just being American citizens and actually being under the Constitution fairly and under the laws fairly is, I mean, some of us are basically fooling ourselves. And I just feel like the whole California reparations thing, I don't know if you remember, but was it last year or 2 years ago? San Francisco was trying to do this reparations bill where they were going to pay, like, they were going to pay Black folks like I think it was like $3 million for reparations.
Wow.
And what was so funny is San Francisco was like in a deficit.
Wow.
So it was like, how are you gonna pay reparations? Especially you gonna give Black folks $5 million, and I think San Francisco has like almost 100,000 Black people in it, something like that. So I'm like, how you gonna pay $5 million to those Black folks, even half of them, if you're running off a deficit? And to me, it was a farce, because for one, the only way reparations would actually come is if it was on a federal level.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think the problem is that, and I think this is done purposely when you think about these local reparations movements and fights that's going on, because there was actually one up here in Illinois, in Evanston, where they were giving like $10,000 to Black residents who were victims of redlining. And from my understanding, and I talked to several people from Evanston, that actually ain't working out too well either. But I think these local movements of reparations are purposely done because they know they're going to fail.
Yep.
Because you technically can't give reparations to these small amounts of people because of the fact that they don't have the economy that the federal level has. Because if you think about it, take for instance the San Francisco reparations, right? So if that was to come into reality, how are you going to pay $5 million to hundreds and thousands of Black residents? That's almost impossible considering their, what their treasury is, and especially like I said, they were in the red. But if you do it on the federal level, the thing about the federal level is they could at least print money and give it, and give it to the people. So you can't you have to have an economy that is actually able to control its own currency in order to give reparations to fairly to the people that's in line for it. And I honestly think that when we look at the reparations count, and if you want to do it fairly, because I always say this, we always say that, and this is true. Our people, our ancestors basically built this country, and I mean that's facts. So if you look at the economy, right, the economy is measured off of GDP. So for me, a simple reparations package would be this: take half of the GDP, give it to Black folks for the next 213 years when we were officially in slavery. And I think that will be a fair reparations package for us.
Yes. So you can take half of the GDP and give it to the you said for 200 years.
Every year. Yeah, every year. So like I think last year's GDP was like 15 trillion or something like that. Take half of that, give it to Black folks every year for the next 213 years.
Oh man, give Black folks $7 trillion for 200 years.
Yep.
Do you think they would do that?
To me, that's the fairest slavery package that I can think of.
They would be bombing the mess out of us. They would find everything. They will create a disease to make sure that it get all of us to keep from paying that debt. But that does make sense because the thing is, you have to admit, and they have to admit that this economy's strength right now, well, it's falling, is not as strong as it used to be, but the wealth that this country was able to obtain so quickly as a nation was due to the fact that they had people here building this nation for free. Think about it. I have built, let's say you build something for you, and then I don't charge you. That's a win-win situation. So whatever profit I make, that's my profit because I don't have a debt to pay.
Yeah, and it's the fairest. Like I said, if we seriously believe that we built this economy, and I do think our ancestors did build this economy, then half of it is ours.
Correct. But see, and what's so interesting about this particular bill at the beginning? Well, when he talked about the funding, he said he did not want to pull funding from a state level, but from a federal level. The only problem with that is if the federal government would help fund California for their reparation, they know they would have to fund everybody else. They can't just fund one group within California. You notice that he said that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and that's the whole thing. It's like you can only do this on a federal level. You can't do this by state. You can't do this by city.
Yep. So he said it, and let me go back to it and play what he said. He probably actually had one of the most solid, I think, plans, because again, it goes back into proof. Define proof. Well, this is what we need to do. You need to identify a relative that goes as far as the end of the 19th century. That's not hard for any of us to do. That's not hard. That's your great grandparent right there. And the last slave. It's not hard to prove the last slave. People make it seem like it is, but if you can find that one ancestor that was possibly born before in the 1860s, There you go. And that's all you have to do is go to, they have logs to be able to find this stuff.
Well,
Uh-huh.
here's the argument. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No. This is a good conversation. I'm enjoying this.
here's the argument. So there have been arguments about, reparations on the basis of slavery. How about on the basis of everything that has happened after slavery, Jim Crow, redlining? I mean, that was the argument with the Evanston reparations because of redlining.
Yep. And he
So
even had, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
You know, he had something in there for eminent domain.
Oh yeah, basically redlining and
Correct.
illegal housing practices.
They knew they needed to shoot this bill down. They knew it. I ain't never seen, if I really believe if this would have made it to Gavin Newsom knew he was going to be the poster boy for the beginning of the end of the economy here. Because guess what? Every person would have said, wait a minute, California getting it from the federal government? Why can't Tennessee get it? Because what the federal government would have done was, if they would have done it and be able to pull money down to say, we're going to fund this, then they would have, like I said, it would have been everybody. You can't just fund one group. You got to fund all of them. And I think
that would have you know what would have happened? Somebody would have took that to the Supreme Court and they would have shot it down.
Yeah. Yep. That's a shame. But
Yeah.
Gavin did not want to look bad. He did not want to look bad.
No, he didn't. I was like, I would be highly surprised if this even got to Gavin Newsom's desk.
That's what they did. They blocked it to keep it from getting to it. This was the last phase before it went to Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, I was like, no. I mean, like I said, I would have been shocked, and I would have been like, well, he's gonna veto it anyway. So, but yeah, I wasn't surprised at all with that or with any other of the possible reparations movements that's happening across the country. But they don't want this to be national, and like you said, bringing it, using federal funds for it would have just went into it would have been a legal battle at this point.
Yep.
And yeah, I was like, this is not going to work. You can only do this federally. This you can't do this by one state. It is not going to happen.
Yep. So let me see. Let me go, because he goes into details on each bill that they shot down.
$13.31, which would create a affairs agency, 1050, which through the Senate. My bills got all the way through the Senate. They got all the way through the Assembly. Through the last committee that they faced, policy committee, was appropriations. And to get out of appropriations without a single amendment, we figured we had no problems when it reached the floor. We had done a vote count, as again, I had 1403, which would stand up the American Freedmen Affairs Agency, 1050, which would have dealt with the racially motivated taking of property through eminent domain, similar to what I did 3 years ago with Bruce's Beach and returning that property. And then we had SB 1331, which would create a funding mechanism and foundation for reparations going forward, not requiring state money. We would look at federal money, philanthropic money, other means other than state money, since we were in a deficit situation. So those were my three bills. What got through were some bills dealing with books in prison, extension of the Crown Act, the closure of grocery stores, notice, I should say, for the closures of grocery stores and pharmacies. And I just don't have the rest of them in front of me, but those that stuck out for sure.
All right.
The stuff that they gave extensions to is just give Black folks anything. Let's not give them that bill. An extension of the Crown Act. I don't care nothing. I'm gonna be honest. The Crown Act is just saying that I can wear my natural hair at work.
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid. I'm not saying that bill doesn't make sense, but it's just give them anything, but let's not give them this. And they think people are stupid now.
Well, yeah, it's that paternalism that they have, and it's like, oh, we're going to give you this, but there's nothing they give to you that empowers you.
Correct.
nothing that empowers you. You know, I you know, like over the last couple of years, I've been really contemplating on this whole reparations fight, and I've seen how it has descended into madness now. Whereas it you know, it used to be an issue where you can actually you can actually form another third party off of this particular issue. But now it's got so divisive, you can't even, you know, Black folks can't even be unified on that particular issue. But I think I was listening to Dr. Linwood Tawheed, and he said something very interesting, and I thought was probably where the reparations fight is at now. And he said that the day we get reparations is the day we don't need it. Because the thing is that the only way he says this, the only way we can get reparations is if we get political power. But by that time, if Black folks got political power, then we won't even need reparations.
Yep, because we're a powerhouse. Why?
Exactly. Why would we need reparations at that time?
That's it. And it's like, and that makes sense. It's so crazy. And it's ironic that you said that, because it's like, when you said it, I was like, if we got political power, what need do we have of reparations then?
Exactly.
Because it kills the lack of access to certain things. And it's just ridiculous that, I mean, I'm over it though. I'm not over it, but it is so disheartening to see this, that Black people that are representing us sit and make a decision, and the bills that they push forward, like you said, does not do any form of empowerment for the Black community. Books in prison. So you're pushing that Black people in prison and they need books. So you want us in prison. That's what I'm getting from that. The crime.
Exactly. Like where did the prisons come from? Not unless you're talking about keeping Black folks out of prison. That, you know, that would be something good. But
that's, you're in prison. We the only community that will have a bill that say books in prison. White people don't have bills like that. How about putting books in our libraries? And thank you, and in our schools. And in our schools, yeah, exactly. How about doing that first? So you see the sick mindset these people got, and these are our people. That they said. And one of the things that I, you know, like some years ago that I really appreciated was the fact that many people, when we started talking about this whole deserving of reparations, we started getting this context of who deserves it, right? So you already got this ADOS formation and the Foundational Black American Foundational thing, and you know. Here's my thing. I don't argue against that, because yes, as Black people in this country, we do have a different experience from Caribbean Blacks and African, you know, people on the continent and Europe and, you know, all around the world. And I appreciate that. However, when we start fighting over, you know, that our culture is more superior and we deserve this and we deserve that, you know, and get into these fights with our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean who are over here. And you know, don't get me wrong, because some of them come over here and they fight with us as well, which is not right either. But this is the conflict that we have. And the problem is that our identity as Black people in this country was actually, I thought it was a very important thing to understand, because our experiences are so unique. However, when we started fighting over each other over resources, then this is when this whole conversation gets convoluted, and all it does is cause conflict now. So even that to me has soured. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's sad. I want to finish, but that's so interesting. Hold on.
All right. So then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. And this is a video here of one of the activists who was speaking outside of the assembly. Watch this.
The bills are now. These are their bills. They have their names on the bills. They killing their own bills because they scared of the government. Now, listen, They're gonna see this and they're gonna get mad at us. They're killing their own bills, then they're gonna get mad at us. They're killing their own bills because they scared of government. We don't care.
We need to send a message out to the governor. The governor needs to understand that the world is watching California, and this is going to have a direct impact on your friend Kamala Harris, who's running for president. This is going to have a direct impact. So pull up the bills now, vote on them, and sign them. We've been waiting for over 400 years.
All right. So, and again, so this was another bill here. They were talking to. This was another video. They were talking to Lori Wilson outside the chamber as well. So, all right. What happened? You make it clear. You had the votes. What happened?
I got noticed when I was in Chicago 2 weeks ago at the Democratic National Convention by Chair Lori Wilson of the Black Caucus. I'm the vice chair. She pulled me to the side while I was in Chicago and she says, hey, we've heard word that the administration might have problems with 1403. That was the only bill that we heard. 1403, again, that was the foundation for standing up the agency. And I said, oh, that's news to me. No one from the administration has contacted me. And I says, what might be some of those concerns? And she wasn't specific. And so I did what I naturally would have done. I picked up the phone. I called my chief of staff. I called my LES director and asked them were they aware of any of those issues. And they said no. And upon my return on Friday, we had a Zoom meeting with the director of finance for the state of California, and he explained what those concerns were. Joe Stephenshaw, who's a stand-up guy, and he just said, hey, Mr. Bradford, under these tough budgetary deficit year, we have some problems with standing up the agency, and we just have concerns. No time did they say they were going to veto the bill. They just said we had some concerns, and they were going to offer up some amendments. He had nothing concrete at that time, so I says, hey, let me see what you come up with and we'll consider it. And fast forward to the next week, Monday, this past Monday, we were on the floor because we're in the last week of session. So we were going late every night. By the time I got a notice from my chief of staff and LES director around 5 o'clock, they said, we have the amendments. And they're saying, I'm recommending you not take the amendments. And that was our position. We felt the amendments kind of like watered down the bill. It created a study. So we said no to those amendments. And I think that's pretty much what got us here today, because again, but no time did the governor or anyone in his administration say we're going to veto the bill. So the fear of a veto, I believe, caused members to say, let's hold the bills.
Okay, so here's what I don't understand. If you pass it and he vetoes it, that's on him. By shutting it down, now it's on them. It's on the Black Caucus. And so I don't understand. I mean, you're a legislator. The governor has the right to veto bills. You pass the damn bill and then go, all right, let's see what you're going to do.
I agree. We vetoed our own bill in essence. I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years in the legislature, and it's not the first time. I worked with Governors Schwarzenegger, Brown, and now Newsom, and they've all at some point, I've had a bill where they say, hey, we got problems with it, and let's see if we can fix it. And we either come to agreement or we don't. I had a bill last year dealing with social equity with cannabis, and his point person on cannabis met with me and says, hey, Mr. Bradford, we got problems with the bill. We want you to take these amendments. And I looked at him and I said, no, I can't take them. And we moved the bill to his desk. He signed that bill. 4 years ago, as you well know, I was a joint author on NIL. It was tremendous pressure for that bill not to reach the governor's desk. From Emirates of NC2A, everybody was saying, hold the bill, don't get it to his desk. We got it to his desk. There was also a threat of a veto there, but what did he do? Not only did he sign it, he signed it on LeBron James' show The Shop. So the threat or even this saying that you have trouble was no reason to hold this bill. So I'm just disappointed that it didn't get to the finish line because we were there. And we had done a vote count on my both of my bills, all three of my bills, and we were standing at 50 plus votes.
So here's where I'm confused then. So if you had the votes, so what happened where it didn't move forward? Like how did so you're saying that?
So as you can see, it made it all the way to the final phase. and he's getting ready to explain what happened. What do you think so far, Gardis?
The legislators, they're being controlled by somebody.
Yep.
And you know, I'm not a big fan of Roland, but
I'm not either.
he asked a valid question.
He did.
He asked a valid question, like how, you know, if he vetoes, if Newsom vetoes it, then let him veto it, but don't sit there and assume that, okay, he's gonna veto it anyway, so we'll just block it. No, that's not the way you're supposed to be a legislator. The people voted you in so you can make decisions, you know, based upon what is best for the people. And if you have a black constituency, in you know, that voted you in, then you need to work for them, whether the governor works against you or not. You know, it's sort of like, why do you do something like why do you even do anything like that? Because it just seems to me that you're not willing to fight for anything. Now,
Yep.
I don't know how the California state legislature works, but I'm assuming they didn't have enough votes for it to be veto proof. Because if you have enough votes, then
he finna explain to you what happened.
oh, okay, all right.
Hold on.
That the California Legislative Black Caucus as a body, they're the ones saying that it didn't move forward. So you're saying that the California Legislative Black Caucus as a body, they're the ones who stopped the bill from moving forward?
They expressed concerns of not bringing it up on the floor. And so, you know, I'm a member of the caucus. I got outvoted and my bills were held.
So here's what I'm confused. Go to my iPad, Henry. So they released this statement here on August 31st, and they said there's been interest regarding the status of Senate Bill 1403. The caucus was unable to participate in the legislative process collectively and only recently became aware of the concerns and issues with the bill. First of all, what the hell does that mean? That they were unable to participate? I'm sorry. Y'all, that task force, they've had hearings. We've covered it. We've had the co-chair on. Where in the hell have they been?
And again, I wasn't made aware of their problems with the bills until last week, again, when I was in Chicago, by the chair of the caucus.
So wait a minute. You're literally, aren't you the co-chair of the task force?
No, I was co-chair of Legislative Black Caucus. But
No, I'm sorry, but you were working with the Reparations Task Force, right?
I'm following the guidelines and the recommendations from the 1,100-page report, yes.
Right, so, but I'm saying you were part of that process.
Yes, I was, for 2 years.
They were aware that process was going on, right?
Yeah, for 2 years we had.
They were aware that bills came out of that 1,100-page report.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, when did you first put the bill together?
I introduced the bill. I did a gut and amend last year. When last year? I think like July.
Okay, so you mean to tell me, so from July 2023, the other members of the Black Caucus until August of 2024, they didn't say nothing about the bill until right before it's going to hit the floor to get passed?
They mentioned some concerns about the bill at the first part of this year, but again, in May, they all signed on as joint co-authors of the bill. And the language hasn't changed from the time.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold up. They signed on as joint co-authors of the bill in May. The language hasn't changed. And now all of a sudden in August, hold up, we got some issues.
Yeah, it's the same bill because I didn't take the amendments. I can understand if I had taken amendments, but I guess you're saying they weren't aware of the amendments. We weren't aware of the amendments till, like I say, after 5 o'clock on Monday of this final week. And once we had a chance to digest them and look at them as my staff would do, we sent them out the next day or the day after to every member of the Black Caucus. We sent those amendments out and showed where we had concerns with them.
So I go back to their statement. In its current form, one of the primary concerns with the bill is that it ceded legislative oversight authority, which is critical given the generational impact this legislation would have. What are they talking about?
Seeing that it would take away legislative insider input and deciding what reparations would be, or the task force, or having to. That's not the case, because again, this is the bill. It hasn't changed that they agreed to be co-authors on. So if it exceeded it today, it exceeded it then when they signed onto the bill. The language has not changed. The language has not changed. And we were true to that. I've been an honest broker for all 25 years of my elected official.
So ultimately, the Black Caucus blocked it to keep from going on the floor to be voted on.
Mm-hmm.
Because they said that this was first brought to their attention when they were involved in the conversations at the very beginning.
Yeah, it's politics, and when I was listening to that clip, I was thinking about what he had said earlier about him being at the Democratic National Convention, and I'm wondering, you know, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, this being an election year for president, you know, and everybody's trying to get Kamala Harris, I'm pretty sure the DNC basically talked to a lot of these California legislators and like, hey, y'all need to back up. Y'all need to back off. If y'all back off, then we'll, we'll make sure that your reelection campaigns are successful. We'll give you the amount of money that you need to be reelected. And if not, we'll just, we'll replace you with another candidate, because, the issue of reparations is a hot topic, and we've seen legislators over the last years lose elections because they don't follow, they don't toe the line. Who's the congresswoman in Missouri that lost her election because she had criticisms of the Israeli government? Cori Bush. She ended up losing her election. Hello? Oh. Sister E, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What were you saying?
Okay. But no, what I'm saying is that legislators who don't toe the line, they get ostracized. They get outed. Cori Bush in Missouri, she had criticisms of the Israeli government's handling of Gaza, and she lost her election. What's his name? The guy from New York, Jamal Bowman. He had criticism. And what's so funny is Bowman was not like a staunch critic of Israel. He just had concerns about it, and he ended up losing his seat. So yeah, if you don't comply to the to the line of the party, then yeah, you're liable to lose your next election. So this is probably what happened to them. They got scared and just like, okay, we won't push this bill through because we got phone calls from Washington saying that if you support this, we'll make sure that we won't support your next campaign. So
that's a mess, and that's exactly what happened. They pretty much was like, and that's how I feel too, because you brought up a great point. This happens right after the DNC. And that's when he said that's when she pulled him aside and said, we have a few concerns about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was conversations had. And our people for some reason love power so much that they'll throw their own people under the bus.
Yeah, exactly. But I have to get off because I got to go to a wedding. So
okay, well, thank you, Gardis, for coming up here.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, you got to keep coming up here. I love your insight.
All right, thanks.
All right. Y'all, ain't that something? Let me finish playing the video.
Life 14 in the legislature, and I don't hide the ball, and I show up every day and I do the work, And my bill had not changed. Again, I stood firm. I mean, for it to get out of appropriations, Assembly appropriations and Senate appropriations with no amendments on it, stated that it had a lot of support.
And then all of a sudden they're claiming, so now they're saying, oh, no, we're gonna make this happen in the next session. Really?
Well, I'll be gone, but
And you'll be gone because what term expires?
I'm termed out in December.
It has to be absolutely devastating, gutting. I mean, I don't want to, but it has to be really disappointing for you to be right there on the 1 yard line and having the votes lined up and the Black Caucus back out at the last second because of the threat of a veto from the governor, which you never heard directly.
Yeah, this is probably the most heartbreaking disappointment time experience in my time as a legislature. And again, you're taught early, don't fall in love with your bills. I didn't fall in love with this bill, but I fell in love with what this bill meant to not only Black Californians, but Black America. And I knew how important it was as a state and as a nation to get this across the finish line. We were there. And I'm proud of the work that we've done. I'm proud of the work as we did as a task force. And I'm proud of the work that I've been able to do with members of the Black Caucus. But yes, to say that I was deeply disappointed at this is probably the most, shocking. And, I don't even want to, it's been hard. It's been really hard because we were there. And I think we vetoed our own bill just because, and I understand, I want to work with the administration. And again, if the governor had, or his administrative staff had indicated that there was a veto in line, I would still say, let's work with this, but I still probably would have moved. There's no doubt I would have moved forward with my bill. And I want to be very clear, the governor's administrative staff, as well as he, has been very collaborative with the Black Caucus all this year since we've introduced our bills. And so, again, I was shocked when I was in Chicago to hear that there was problems with 1403.
And what jumps out the most here, again, is you had the votes lined up.
We did a vote card on all three of my reparations bills. My staff and I had coordinated, and we said we were going to take them all up on Wednesday of last week and have them all done that same day. We had a 50+ count. Prime example was 1050. They still brought up 1050, SB 1050, that dealt with the racially motivated taking of property. It got off the floor with, I believe, over 55 votes.
Discover Boating and Progressive present the top safe boating tips. We may adore the ahoy from our dogs while on board. However, their safety.
So it showed that we're in good stead. And I think 1403 and 1331 would have experienced the same fate as well.
Wow. That's well, I would love to hear, and we're going to reach out to the head of the Black Caucus. We'd love to hear them explain why they decided to get scared by a possible threat of a veto. And again, you pass the bill. If he vetoes it, he vetoes it. And then you have the opportunity to override the veto, correct?
That's true. We have a supermajority in both houses. But again, and we're co-equal partners in government. So, I mean, we shouldn't no more acquiesce than the governor should acquiesce to us. We're co-equal partners. So we need to understand and appreciate our position as well, in this process. And, I was ready to move forward. I was totally committed to moving this package forward. It was a solid package. It was a package, again, that would have tremendous impact on California, but as a nation as well. I've been contacted by legislators all across the country who were following what we were doing, and they wanted to emulate and copy what we were doing, and was hoping that we get it done so they could do the same in their respective states. I mean, New York is setting up a task force similar to what we did here in California because of the work that we did in California. I think Oklahoma is looking to do the same as well.
All right, then. Representative Bradford, Senator Bradford, I'm sorry. We appreciate it. Thanks so very much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks a bunch. Julian, what do you make of the, some would say, cowardice of the California Legislative Black Caucus for scuttling these bills at the last second when, according to Senator Bradford, he had the votes?
He had the votes. He's been working on this so long and so hard. I admire him so much. He's a friend, but I really admire the work that he's done and the persistence. And to take all that 1,100 pages and boil it down to, I think it's 14 pieces of legislation, and to get to that point. I mean, the Legislative Caucus is a bunch of wussies. Why would they withdraw the legislation? Why? And you could tell. Brother man had extreme composure. I think he probably wants to cry because he's worked so hard on this. And I'm not wanting to cry. I want to, what I want to do. But I'm pissed. I'm really livid that all this work has wound down. And they said, well, we'll get it at the next session. No, you won't. Don't lie. Because frankly, he's been the he spearheaded it. I don't know what the considerations are. Why they did it, but the way they did it was cowardly. It was non-collaborative. It was anti-African, if you will, because the African people deal in collaboration. What it was is it was just a wuss move. And again, they need to explain. As Steve said, the governor, the ledge, they're equal partners. The governor can veto and they can override. So what is the fear here? I mean, are they Mr. Bo jangling because
Key thing, she said, if the governor would have vetoed it, they could have overridden his veto. Y'all, and I know a lot of people here saying, why is reparations important? I don't want that paper money. Look, right now we're dealing in paper money. Give me that paper money, I'll transfer it to whatever natural resources that I want to transfer it to. The dollar ain't that shot to the point that I can't utilize it for the benefit of what I need for future intents. I can take that money, buy property in other lands. I can take that money and transfer it over to gold. So I think when we say that, well, he gonna give us gold and silver. Right now, nobody's really operating gold and silver. We still are operating under the U.S. dollar. So while it's here, give it to me, and I'm gonna do what I need to do with it. But with that being said, we do not fight for one another. We fight for ourselves, just like Israel in the Bible. They never cared. So they could have pushed it. Who are these people here saying that I'm supporting Trump? Y'all get out of here. Get these trolls up out of here. Jeez, these trolls are really getting on my nerves right now. But with that being said, y'all, I promise y'all, this right here, and no, I do not support these Black Democrats ain't for us either. So I'll leave it right there. Ain't neither one of them, neither side have talked about efforts to or any restitution to our people. So I'll kill it right there by saying that. But this is too funny. Oh, please make a video about me. I like videos about me. I love videos. Yep, y'all make a video about Sister E, and I'll invite y'all up to talk about it. All right, but yet and still, y'all, this is gonna be interesting to see how this transpires. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this. 1 second, y'all. I love videos about me.
if something comes out of California, they think it might negatively affect the presidential race? Because, the crazy people lining up, they don't even want to hear the word reparations. So is that what they're afraid of? Well, you cannot do fear, especially not in this context. So I'm just pretty disgusted, Roland. I had heard something on the radio before I came on, so I'm really glad that you had the senator on. But I'm at a loss to explain why the Legislative Black Caucus whipped the votes would make such a wuss move.
Joe, again, what's confusing to me is if you hear the governor may veto the bill, Let them. And guess what? If you can't override the veto in this session, what do? You reintroduce it next session. You don't pull the bill scared today and then go, oh no, it's a priority and we're going to introduce it next session when you were on the 1 yard line. That to me is nuts.
Yeah, that's a problem, and I certainly feel bad for all of us, and for Senator Bradford, who I've gotten to know a bit, and saw at DNC and CBC. You know, I see a little political calculation by the governor. Actually, that's what I see. If you add this along with, obviously, there's a message that's getting there somewhere. I think it's distant enough from Kamala Harris where I don't think it necessarily affects her. So I don't think that that's the calculus, and I don't think that it becomes a discussion about anything other than California being liberal. We already know that California is liberal. But if you add the governor's somehow sending some indication that there are some problems with the bill, which I think is what happened, and add what he did with homeless encampments recently.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Hold on.
Saying that based on the Supreme Court's recent decision, now, the cities actually have the leeway to use the massive resources we've given them to clear out homeless camps, as if it was that simple. And it's not that simple. I think, respectfully, it's being oversimplified.
With the YouTube Music app, you can start a radio station with up to 30 artists. Go ahead.
That maybe it's something that the governor is doing for the future. Everybody knows he wants to be president. I'm not saying that he's not supporting Kamala Harris. However, it seems like to me that towards the end of his term, what he's going to be doing, what he seems to be trying to do, is setting up some things that are a little bit more moderate, a little bit more tough on homelessness, tough on fill in the blank, so that at least the buck can be passed. I had the money. I gave the money to the agencies, to the local cities, and it was up to them to do X or Y or Z, so it's not me. So I wonder if there's this larger narrative related to it. But yeah, they should have just presented it. Put it up, let the governor veto it, and then whatever happens, happens. You've done that before. It's terrible that there's discussions about it this late, because the budget problem, if there is one, has been one for a while. None of this stuff is new. And so something in the milk's not white for it to come up the way that it did and how late it did.
And here's the deal, Mustafa. The governor doesn't even have to come out and actually say, I'll veto it. The California Legislative Black Caucus did it for him, gave him cover, and I'm just trying to understand, who do they represent?
That's definitely a question that they're going to have to answer, because I keep it real with folks. My thing is, if you want my vote, then you have to earn my vote. And that means that I share my priorities with you, and you are supposed to do everything in your power to make those become a reality, especially when you have everything lined up. There's so much to unpack here. I worked on Capitol Hill. I worked on HR 40, so I know all of the people have been working for decades upon decades upon decades to make sure that reparations became a reality. To be this close and not to push across, allow him. If he doesn't want to sign it, allow him not to sign it, and then he carries the weight for that. So it's just so strange. And when we talk about budgets, I actually handled appropriations when I was working on Capitol Hill. It was one of the responsibilities I had. We find the money for the things that we prioritize. John Conyers talked to me night after night after night about that, and he drilled it in me. If somebody really cares about something, if they want to see it become a reality, they will find the resources to make sure that it is signed and that it becomes, reality for folks. So some of the stuff that folks are sharing, people continue to insult our intelligence. We understand that if there is a problem, you let people know that way ahead of time so that they can work it out. That's what legislators do. If there's a challenge, if there's not the resources are there, people find a place where they can get those resources from. And if there's something in the language that is a significant problem, then you find a way to come together through collaboration, as Julian shared, to make that become a reality. So this is a bunch of smoke and mirrors that's going on right now. They know how incredibly important reparations are. There are lots of folks who are talking about it, trying to figure out how to make it become a reality, how to make sure that after all of these years that Black folks in America can finally begin to breathe again, can finally make sure that, you know, everything that was stripped away from us, that we can start to repair that so that we can start to heal. And what this does, let me be very clear with folks, this continues to just rip open the wound once again and takes us further and further away from healing. So shout out to all those brothers and sisters who have been doing it for decades, trying to make this become a reality. Shame on legislators who are not willing to stand up and push and make those folks who say, if the governor doesn't want to sign it, let the governor carry the water on that.
When you talk about Blackness and what happens in...
Y'all, that is so interesting to watch that. And see, hold on, y'all. 1 second, y'all. It's so interesting to see that they don't have to do nothing. They don't have to do nothing. They can send someone to do it for them. They can send somebody to do it for them, and it's our people that does it for them. Come on, Rhea. Out of here. They can send people to do it for them. Hold on a second, y'all. This dog was off his mind. Man. This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So here's the event where everything goes left. Hold on. Again, I'm saying this. Every single time there's a presidential election, every group comes to the table with something for their community, except for our people. How dare they say we're going to push a bill for books in the prison? Like Caucus now, like Democrats said, we're going to push a bill that says books in the prison. Why not books in the schools? Why not reconstruct and re-engineer the schools that are in the Black neighborhoods so they won't have to have books in the prison? You see how they think? They give us anything. That's jacked books in the prison. Let's don't give them reparation. No. We don't want to see them rise up. We want them to stay down. So to make them feel good, now this is our people that look like us. We're going to put books in the prison. No, real. Books in the prison. Books in the prison. This is what we want to give. This is what we want to give to the Black community. We're going to give you good books in the prison, but we're not finna re-engineer these Black schools. We're not going to go look at these schools and investigate what's really going on in the education system in our Black communities. We're not going to really deep dive into some of these teachers that teach our kids at a subpar level so that they can stay. No. We're not going to put money into that. We're going to put money into putting books in the prison. We're not going to give you reparation. We're not going to look into the rising up of our people. We're going to see the tearing down of our people. And while we're tearing you down, we're going to throw books at you. Y'all see how stupid that is? And it's treating us like we're idiots. Like we don't have sense enough to say, hold on, wait a minute. You're not going to fund reparation, but you're going to fund books in the prison. Crown Act, because I want to wear my hair natural. Wearing my hair natural at work, how is that going to benefit the Black people, as Black whole community financially? Doesn't really. We've been wearing natural hair to work. I work for one of the biggest companies in the world, and majority of my friends had natural hair, and they didn't say a word. We're gonna give them something. And they fall for it every single time. Fall for it every single time. But I think now it's hard for it. Now the wool is off. We can see what's going on right now. We can see what's going on. So now you can't just give us anything because we're gonna question it. Like, so over here you said no to this, but yes to that. So you're promoting school to pipeline. What is it? School to prison pipeline. That's the support. The school to prison pipeline. That's what it sounds like. That is so crazy. Y'all ignore these trolls. These trolls are coming here. Understand that trolls are meant to distract us from the conversation. Ignore the trolls. They're not upset, Sister E. Let them say whatever they want to say. Block them. Do whatever. They just, I don't know where the troll's coming from, but they came at me, Dante, and Teo, which I don't care. Because I don't stand for the Democratic Party. Don't really care for the Republican Party. I don't care for either systems, but the worst system is the Democratic Party. Democratic Party has been strategically put in place to ensure that we do not rise up as a people. Malcolm X said that. Malcolm X said that. Malcolm X said that. I'm gonna play a video. So fair use. I'm gonna play this video. Shout out to all my trolls. The great Malcolm X even called the Democratic Party. I don't need BS. So let's see.
Black victims, 22 million Black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. They see that the whites are so evenly divided that every time they vote, the race is so close, they have to go back and count the votes all over again. And which means that any block, any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington. You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republicans. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. The party that you back controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
This is Democracy Now!
That was a good one. That was a good one. And it makes so much sense that I think they had just started supporting the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party has never done anything day one. We put our votes and our support behind them, and they taunt us by giving us faces that look like us to say, well, this time we can't, but let's try it next year, in the next 4 years. We can't do it now, but let's try it the next 4 years. And what happens is the next 2 years, 2 years, next 4 years, whatever, let's try the next term. Let's try the next term. Let's try the next term. Where are we now? Where are we now? We're still here. They have never truly cared about the Black person. They've only cared about our votes. But once they're in office, we become a nuisance. They don't want to hear what we got to say. They want to push Asian bills. They want to push LG, the alphabet group bills. They want to support immigration bills. They want to support all these bills. But when it comes to a bill that will support the upliftment of the Black community by way of paying back something that they owe us because they're not giving us anything, this is owed to us, they get real quiet. Democratic Party gets real quiet, real quiet. They get real quiet. And now you have a group of representatives that look like us standing in front of the House and getting ready to push the final bill that will go to Gavin Nome in California to support reparation. They're afraid that he is going to veto it, so they don't even bring it to the floor. And if they vetoed it, they can push back on that veto. They love their money and their position and their power. And they would rather remain in power than to fight for their own people. And understand, I guess this person right here is saying, y'all teaches us the recipe of nationhood and we throw it away to be slaves. Excuse me? We vote to be slaves in the stolen land as individuals. So let me explain something. The Bible says that while we're here, we have to live here. We have to set up vineyards while we're here. But it also says that when we leave, we're going to leave with great substance. I'm not prematurely leaving, going anywhere. I'm staying here until I get my money. That's the thing. So that's Bible. If you want to talk about Bible. So he says that he's going to judge these nations and we're going to watch the judgment. Shut that door back, Max, because he's finna. We're going to watch the judgment. And then when we leave, we're leaving with great substance. So I'm going to get my substance. And then once I get my substance, I'm out. Yes, we're supposed to teach our people. Yes, we're supposed to teach our people the Bible. But yet it's still in every single Exodus, the power, the group that put them in captivity, they gave them restitution. So I'm not being fooled by that. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere until Yah says something. When he says go, I'll go. But I know when he tells me to go, he's not going to allow me to leave empty-handed. The children of Israel with Moses did not leave empty-handed. They didn't leave. Yep. Yeah, that was real. But yeah, we're supposed to leave with great substance. So yeah, not going nowhere until I get my money. And that's owed to us. So even when the children of Israel left Egypt, and when they left Egypt, they left with what substance? They didn't leave empty-handed. They left with substance. That's how they were able to build that golden calf that Moses was like, really, y'all finna do that? Because they had substance. They left with gold. They left with their silver. They left what was owed to them. They didn't leave empty-handed. And this is going to be the same thing. When it happens, we ain't leaving empty-handed. That's Bible. So y'all don't get tricked by that. And as far as us voting, I mean, we're here. And this is the system that we live in. So, so yeah, I just want to kind of put that in because, when people do that, it's just like, understand what you're supposed to do. We're supposed to live here, create vineyards here until he tells us to go. But back to the whole situation. It's just like we vote. We don't vote for the upliftment of our community. We vote because the candidate looks like us, or the candidate says something about Black people, or he has an event with Black people performing right before the presidential election, or right after when it's time to vote for the president. Black people are all in their mouth, all in their brain. We stay on them. They stay on us. We're gonna give you this. Let's have a barbecue. Let's do this. Let's put Kirk Franklin on the stage. Let's put Meg Thee Stallion on stage. Let's do this, and we just be in awe. And then guess what happens? When they win, Meg Thee Stallion goes back to what she's doing. Kirk Franklin goes back to his life. They continually push bills to support other communities but ours. They get ready to do that now. I ain't never seen a group of Black people loving Kamala so much, and Kamala ain't did nothing for our community. You look at the DNC event. It was just, every face they showed was Black face. Every face. They love to put us on camera when it's that time. But once they get in office, yes, they go ghost. They go ghost every single time. So don't be fooled by these folks. And I know we not. But this is just so very interesting. And the crazy thing is, I've heard people say, well, let's go on back to Africa. That's great. But I'm going back wherever he's supposed to send me when they give me my dues. They owe us this. They owe us this. Who's to say they won't put in a bill that, okay, yeah, we're going to proceed with reparations, but you have to physically have living here. You can't have left the country. You couldn't have changed your citizenship. You know they'll do some janky stuff like that. You know they're right. That if we all just said, let's go, a mass exodus out, they'll say, thank you. So what we're going to do is say, if you have moved out of the country and changed your citizenship, this does not apply to you. Y'all better understand the game. Y'all better understand this game. They want us to go. They want us to go. I'm not going nowhere. Give me my money, and I'm standing firm on it. I'm not moving on it. And I've never been led to leave. Give me my check. Give me my check. Because that's my check. It's not your check. That's our check. They so shaky. They'll be like, yep, they gone now. Let's go ahead and push this bill forth. Because it's beneficial to us now. Because it's only 10% of the people still left here. And a 10% would get paid. So take it however you want it. I'm here. I'm here until y'all says otherwise. So so that's what I really wanted to delve into. And like I said, I know everybody's been talking about Candace Owens, and I said, oh, I gotta show y'all what happened on the floor when they was outraged. Oh, it was on and popping. Let me see, is this the right one? Okay, this came out 4 days ago.
We start tonight with controversy at the state capitol. State lawmakers wrapped up their legislative year over the weekend, but it was not without protest over the state's landmark reparations bill. Two bills did not get a final vote. ABC 10's Becca Habegger joins us in studio with what happened and what could come next.
You know, Alex, many supporters of reparations for Californians who are descendants of chattel slavery in the U.S. feel outraged tonight. That's after Assembly members refused to bring to a vote on Saturday two bills that would have created the infrastructure for meaningful reparations.
Supporters of reparations gathered at the Capitol Saturday in support of two key bills by Senator Steph Bradford, who sat on the California Reparations Task Force. The task force met over the course of 2 years, hearing from the public and experts on the long-lasting effects of chattel slavery on Black Americans. Last summer, members published their final report of more than 1,000 pages and more than 100 recommendations.
We're 160 years overdue for this.
On Saturday, Senator Bradford hoped his Assembly colleagues would put his two key reparations bills up for a vote. Senate Bill 1403 would have created the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, tasked with implementing reparations and determining eligibility. Senate Bill 1331 would have established the Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice to eventually pay for the various forms of reparations. Neither of these bills included cash payments for recipients of reparations, and neither of these bills went up for a vote in the final hours of the legislative session, effectively killing them for the year.
We owe it to our ancestors, and I think we disappointed them in a way by at least not having the floor vote and letting the people decide, let the legislators decide whether it should have gone to the governor's desk versus holding the bills.
This session, the California Legislative Black Caucus published a list of 14 bills as part of its reparations package. But Bradford's two bills that brought supporters out on Saturday were not among the 14. In a statement, the caucus wrote, in part, members have chosen to concentrate our collective energy on the legislative priorities that the entire caucus has voted on and those that positively impact Black Californians. We remain committed to our long-term goals and recognize that this is a multi-year effort. 9 of the caucus's 14 priority bills passed the legislature, including a formal apology from the state for human rights violations and crimes against humanity on African slaves and their descendants.
An apology is not reparations. Nobody can eat no apology. Nobody can pay their rent with no apology.
Chris Lodgson with the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California says he is outraged the California Legislative Black Caucus didn't bring Senator Bradford's two bills up for votes.
It's disrespectful and it's disgusting. I consider it a betrayal of the people.
And Becca, from what we are hearing, there are plans to try again next session, right?
That's right. Yeah, Alex, you know, supporters of Bradford's two bills say they're going to fight for this next year, though Senator Bradford is now termed out and no longer able to serve. One of the reparations bills the California Legislative Black Caucus passed is actually something you'll see on your ballot, now called Proposition 6. It would change the wording of the California Constitution, which currently outlaws all forms of slavery except for the involuntary servitude of inmates.
All right, Becca, thank you for the update. And you know, we will keep you updated at home.
Family, I'm gonna leave it right there. That's crazy. Osai's still gonna move, and he gonna do it. I believe that we are gonna get reparations here. Because the Exodus does have, I do believe in the Exodus. And I think the Exodus is going to relate to, and this is what I think the Exodus is going to relate to us getting, something's going to happen in the system. It's just my thoughts. It's not prophecy. It's just my thought. Something's going to happen in the system where we possibly could get reparation and then we're going to be able to bounce. I believe that's what's going to happen. Do I believe that when he comes, we're going to already be out of here? I really believe that. And the thing again, people think that I don't think that there's going to be an Exodus. I really believe there's going to be an Exodus, but some things have to transpire before we go. And then after the Exodus, I really believe that that's when we'll see Christ come, because they're gonna try to come at us and attack us. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, if he comes before that and we don't get that paper rep or gold or silver reparation, I'm good with it. But with that being said, I'm not gonna have my head in the sand throughout the process. I'm not, because rightly he said, wait on, yeah. I'm looking at his prophecy, and his prophecy said, we're gonna leave a great substance. So yeah, I won't have my head in the sand. I won't walk around like with blinders on. I think that's the worst thing that has crippled our community, because we go by the mindset of, well, don't worry about what you're supposed to get in here. You're going to get it over in heaven. There's always been that mindset that, oh, they can dog us out here, but we're going to have better in heaven. No, you owe us here, and you're going to have to pay us here. It's going to be a part of their curses, and that's what they're going to hate. And then just end a discussion. I don't have that mindset. So yes, Yah is fighting us, but rightly dividing the word does say that we shall leave with great substance. That's what they said. So, and that's rightly dividing the word. So, family, I've enjoyed this conversation. Let me finish unpacking. Let me see. So, yeah, this is gonna be interesting though. But I'm gonna keep up with this. I do want to talk about Candace, but I agree with that. But they're gonna have to. They're not gonna want to give it. They're not gonna want to give it, but something's gonna happen. So, some of y'all who don't agree that we're gonna give, I have a question. I'm gonna do a poll. Who thinks we're gonna get reparations here? Give me a 1 for yes, a 2 for no. Because I am a proponent for reparations. All right. Anything we get is gonna be from the Most High. Anything we get, ain't nobody gonna give us nothing. But He will make the enemies will gonna have to pay. They're gonna have to pay up. All right. So let's not have our heads in the sand, family. It says we're gonna get it on the other side of glory. I don't like that. That right there irks me. When I hear people say, oh, we're gonna get it in heaven, that's the slave mentality. And we can't allow ourselves to fall into that slave mentality to say, oh, we ain't gonna get it on this side, but we'll get it over in heaven. That's what they used to tell the slaves to make them be all right with getting beat over the back. Is be all right with being mistreated, because they said, okay, we don't get it here, but God gonna give us He gonna give it to us on the other side. I don't believe in that, and I think that's slave mentality, and we can't allow ourselves to slip back into that mindset and that slave mentality to say, okay, well, we ain't gonna get it here, but when He come, we gonna get it. No, we're gonna get it, and they're gonna be mad about it. Period. So, yes, He's gonna get us our oh yeah, He gonna give it to us right before we leave. Right before we leave. Oh, definitely. But those who teach that, I can't stand that. Oh, in the sweet by and by, I can't. That irks me, because it's a concerted effort for us to accept what they doing to us. I can't do that, y'all. That irks me, because that's a tool of the enemy to make us to be all right with our oppression. I don't agree with that. So for me to sit here, I'm just looking at that. And it might be gold and silver, but y'all, I'm not gonna sit here and say over in the sweet by and by. Let's be quiet and put our heads in the sand and keep reading the Bible. God gonna give us this reparation. And it's like, Moses stood before the courts and said, let my people go. God instructed Moses to go do that. The children of Israel and Moses just sit there and say, all right, we're going to accept it. And when he comes, we're going to see him coming in, we'll get our, no, God told Moses, go and tell them to do this. Go and tell them to do this. And he obeyed and he fought against the system and got his people out of there. And God made a way for him to get out of there. But he had to obey and do what he had to do. And Egypt had to feel the loss. Egypt never recovered after that. So they left out of the land with great substance. That's the book. And they're going to do the same here. And they are going to be forced to give it. And when they give it, they're going to feel it. But I do not believe in that teaching of don't look at it, keep your head turned, keep your head in the sand, keep reading the word, let our oppressor continually oppress us, and we will get it in the sweet by and by. And that's what they teach us, y'all. And I don't like that. That right there. I think if anything that irks me, because it's a concerted effort for me not to fight against my oppressor. Don't fight against them. Just accept the oppression. No, we're not. So if people are doing this within legislation to keep us from getting reparation, yes, I'm standing and I'm fighting against it. The problem is we've become so used to the mindset of let's just wait till the sweet by and by that they dogging us out, and we're not standing firm and say, no, this ain't it. So I don't do that. Yep, they're gonna feel it like we did. So yeah, rightly dividing the word is to understand that. And in those days, he's gonna do that. He's gonna give us he is gonna give it to us. But he giving it to us doesn't mean that he's gonna stand right there in the middle of the floor and say, here's your reparation. No, he's gonna make the nations turn against each other, and they're gonna have no choice but to eventually give it to us. And they're gonna feel it and they're gonna see it. So I don't give me that sweet by and by stuff, y'all. I can't. It just irks me. Because again, it puts us in a position to say, that's all right for them to oppress us because he's coming. Don't fight the system. Just keep reading your Bible. And the Bible tells you that when this happens, what's going to happen is in the last days, we're going to see this system fall apart. And when we see this system fall apart, then we'll leave, and we'll leave with great substance. And that's what I'm waiting for, that great substance. So no, they're not going to let us go. They ain't going to have no choice but to let us go, though. So they can give trillions upon trillions to Ukraine, but all of a sudden we accept the word that they're in debt. How are they in debt when they constantly giving these countries money? They tell us they're in debt. They're in debt, but they still can give. No, I ain't accepting that either. So it's a game and it's a ploy. And then, and like I said, I'm not going nowhere until they give it. Period. And I'm standing firm. The children of Israel did not leave until Moses said, let's go, and here's your great substance out. They didn't leave prior to that. They didn't. And when Moses came and said, we finna do this, and they did it. The Most High led him to do this. He told them to go over there and do it. And they watched the judgments fall on Egypt. They watched the judgments, and then right after that, they got that great substance and they bounced. Pharaoh did give him that. It was a great substance that they got from the Egyptians. Egyptians felt it. They left with great substance. She said, I don't care. Pay up. They can sell their children if they want to. I don't care. Run me my money. Exactly. Run me my money. So to have that mentality of wait for the sweet by and by, I ain't doing it. Run me my money. Period. Y'all can sit here and play like that the Bible, just be quiet. Nope. Run me my money. Run me my money. So I don't wait for the sweet by and by. Give me my change right now. And y'all better be careful too, because sometimes trolls will be in here and they'll just come in here and say anything and throw the whole conversation off. But give me my money. Cut. Thank you. Cut the check, period. Cut that check. Cut that check. Ah, my knee hurts. Oh, my knee hurts. But run me my money. And I'm waiting on it. But I think this right here is going to lead to other conversations. It's going to lead to other conversations. It's going to lead to other conversations where people are going to eventually, it's going to be a bigger audience. And it's going to be a bigger conversation. And it's going to be interesting. Run me my money. Y'all don't let these folks fool y'all talking about wait for the sweet by and by. That's what the oppressor wants you to say. The oppressor wants you to say wait for the sweet by and by. I ain't say you trolling. I'm here for 5 years now. I'm not trolling. I'm dead serious. I agree with you. Run me my money. Notorious Hebrew, I know you're not trolling. Stop, sis. I know who you are. I agree with your point. Run me my money, run me my coins, and quit playing with me. Quit playing with me, run me my coins. So, these folks think they finna get, man, please. Man, please. Don't listen to these folks that's so spiritually minded that they ain't, run me my coins, period. Run me my coins. Run me my coins. They got all the money in the world to pay for wars. Run me my money. Yep. I don't know how much we should get. I don't have an estimate. But the thing is, it's not giving, it's what was owed. Oh, they got it. Don't think they ain't got it. Stop playing. They got it. They got it. They lying to us to say they ain't got it, but they got it. Oh, they got it. So, but we're going to leave with something. We're going to leave with something. So, all right, y'all. I'm going to go here and finish unpacking. Oh, I hate packing. I like unpacking. But for some reason, I'm dragging my feet on this unpacking. So, it's going to probably take me a month. Yep, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the saints. Firm believe in that. I do not agree with you on this one. That goes totally against scripture. So I don't want no payment. I don't trust their payments. You said she would continuous payments or lump sum. Give me my money lump sum all at once. Because right after they give it, some things been transpiring. They ain't gonna be able to give us our upcoming checks. Give me all my coins. Period. So let me see. I ain't going no. I ain't going no. Oh, wait a minute. So answer this question. Are you going to the Vic? I ain't going nowhere near Memphis right now. I'm tired. Oh, I'm so tired. I don't feel like traveling no more for the next little bit. I've been traveling a lot, so I'm out of it. Says, do y'all think might be seeing reparation and the Exodus soon rather than later. I hope it's soon. I hope it's soon too. I pray that it's soon. And the way things are running right now, this is going to get real interesting. Me and Pastor Kelly are actually supposed to be doing this, y'all, and it's my fault that me and Pastor Kelly did not do this collaboration on my channel. So we'll probably do it tonight or either tomorrow night. I'll find out. Really tonight we're gonna do it because I got a meeting about possibly bringing some debates over to this channel. So we'll probably do it tonight. I'll check with him and see what's a good time. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Candace event, which is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. So me and him gonna talk about that. So let me see. It says it's gonna be interesting, y'all. Yep, we're gonna get all that good stuff. And it doesn't necessarily have to be money, but they're gonna have to run us something. Run us our wealth back. Because every ounce of wealth that they have right now is ours that they took. So all right, well, I'm getting ready to go, y'all. I enjoyed this conversation. I think Rio hurt himself because now he whining every time he walks. So I think he pulled something. So I'm gonna take him to the vet sometime this week. So, all right, y'all. Love y'all. Have a good one.